Hello and welcome. For those of you listening for the first time, my name is Tavishima Ayede. I am the host of the show. I'm a former lawyer turned business consultant, and what I do here every day is I solve business problems. And we're currently looking at a couple of business problems that are involved in Josh's business. And Joshua runs a business with two other people called AGM Maritime Logistics. They're a service based company located in Trade Fair in Lagos, and they assist importers with shipping, clearing, and nationwide delivery. Let's see what else. Okay, they're a 5 month old company and they have a couple of problems. And so far, we've made two podcast episodes where we've discussed possible problems with their digital advertising strategy, their flyer outreach strategy. We've come up with some ideas, excuse me, some ideas about how they can use artificial intelligence tools to come up with a prospecting strategy. And what else? What else? Okay, we've also looked at how they can sell their freight forwarding services to other businesses who already have another freight forwarder. And I think in last episode in particular, we looked at how this is advice that not only people like Josh could use in freight forwarding services, but how that would apply to people who also run stationary businesses, office supply businesses, commercial cleaning, pharmaceutical, medical sales, fast moving consumer goods, stuff like that. Sha. So even though we're talking about someone who works in the export and import industry, we can see that some of the principles, some of the ideas that we've discussed so far apply to loads of other businesses. So if this is your first time listening to this podcast, you're in the right place. You're not going to find any other show that has as much value in Niger. So just subscribe and let's get to it. And if you love to connect with me, just like Josh did, then you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080 And if you don't have 20, 30 minutes to listen to podcast episodes every single day, then send me a WhatsApp message. I'll add you to the WhatsApp group. On the WhatsApp group, I'm going to put up PDF summaries that are not too long. You can read them in 3 to 5 minutes. You get the gist of every single thing that we discuss. Also, you'll be able to get pointers as per what you're supposed to do next to move your business forward. So, let's go into part three. I think this is part three now of dealing with questions from Josh of AGM Maritime Logistics. Now, Josh also had questions about, excuse me, about the sales conversion strategy. Basically, what he meant by that was, what is the strategy for converting total strangers into paying customers? Okay, I repeat. He wants a strategy. What's the scope? What's the strategy? What's the pattern? Like, how are we going to go about this? That we talk to total strangers and then they end up becoming paying customers. Now, first of all, we need to set some expectations first because lots of people who are coming in new into business. Remember, Joshua's company is about 5 months old. Sometimes they have unrealistic expectations. First of all, let's talk about conversions. Somehow, people get disappointed when you come into business. You talk to 10 people and then you only close 3 deals or 4 deals. They'll be angry. What you need to understand is closing 3 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 is not bad. It actually isn't. All of you who think you're going to come and talk to 10 people and 10 people will buy from you, that is very, very unrealistic. We call that a conversion rate. There is nobody in no business in any part of the world that has 100% conversion rate. So there's nobody in America, in UK, in the Netherlands, in Afghanistan, in Sudan, in Niger Republic, in Nigeria, in Mogadishu, in wherever. There's nobody that talks to 10 people and then all 10 people buy from them. Nobody. That person does not exist. If I'm lying and you know one of those people who they talk to 10 people, they close those 10 people, call me. That's why I give my phone number 080 2140. Call me and say, Guy, you're a liar. I know one person. And let's discuss. And honestly, if what you're saying is true, I'll make a podcast episode and I'll say that look, you know what? I've misinformed you people. Here is one case. So please, if what I'm saying is a lie, call me. So, first expectation, you will not talk to 10 people and get business from 10 people. Not possible. How many people are you going to close business from? The thing is, we don't know. We need to establish your baseline first. If we look at your numbers, based on the number of people you're talking to, stuff like that, and it looks as if for every 10 people you talk to, you only close one deal, no problem. It could be better. But at least we know your baseline. We know that your baseline is 10%. That every single time you go out and talk to people, you close 10%. Okay, good. We'll work with that baseline. The goal will now be how do we move from 10% to 12%, from 12% to 17, from 17 to 21, from 21 to 25, from 25 to 30, from 30 to 33. Up and up and up and up and up. Small, small. To get huge growth in our businesses, we don't even need massive jumps. Small increments in some businesses are enough because of profit margins. Now, Mr. Joshua, I don't know your profit margins because we didn't sit down and do a proper consultation. But I'm assuming that in your line of business, you will are charging millions, millions, millions per container, or at the very least, a few 100,000 per container. So in your own case, even if you increase your conversion rate, you go up from 10% to 15%, because your profit margins are kind of big, you will see that your bank account will testify. So we don't even need something huge. Going from 10 to 12% is something. Going from 13 to 15 is something. If you go from 10% conversion to 20% conversions, for most of you, you just go mad because, that means your bank account will just double overnight. Anyway, so right expectations. First of all, there's nobody that converts at 100%. So do not be angry that you're not converting at 100%. Let's know what your baseline is. That is your starting point. We'll take it from there. Now, second thing, for some reason, people think that you can just close sales in one day. It works, but only in simple sales scenarios. If you're in a complex sales scenario, closing a deal is not a day's job. So do not be angry that Joshua, don't be angry that you try to talk to someone to close the deal. You talk to Chief Ihenacho. Don't be angry that you talk to him on Monday. By Wednesday, he hasn't transferred money to you. Don't be angry. It's not a day's job. You're in a complex sales. You're charging millions per container or hundreds of thousands per container. So the money is plenty. People don't just transfer hundreds of thousands of naira like that to total strangers. It does not happen. It's not going to be a day's job. Then there's complexity. Excuse me. There's complexity in what you do, Mr. Joshua, because sometimes you're exporting or importing stuff for people and they're dealing in perishables. So it's complex. My brother and I used to be in the export business. Well, not the well, how do I put it? We were not freight forwarders, but we would get consignments of charcoal, sesame seed, and stuff like that to send to other people. If it's charcoal you're sending, moisture content is an issue. So how you package it is an issue. The same thing with sesame. If you're sending sesame, moisture content is an issue. The packaging is an issue. So Joshua, you're in a complex line of business. When people are transporting stuff like this, eh, it could be perishables, things that need special care. You don't just award contract to anybody just like that. Somebody doesn't just walk into your office on Monday and then by Friday you say, oh yeah, go and do 2 shipment for me. It doesn't work that way. So Mr. Josh, or anybody who is coming brand new into business, don't be disappointed if you talk to the person January 1st. By January 10th, you have not closed the deal. Relax. It's not a day's job. It's not. Also, for Mr. Josh, you guys are taking things a step further. You want to do nationwide delivery. Okay. That means by necessity that you guys are doing multimodal transport. Now, I remember that because back when I was in university, um, in commercial law, we studied, sorry, not commercial law, maritime law. Yeah, we studied that. Multimodal forms of transport because there are different conventions that govern that. Multimodal just means different ways of transporting. Because for lots of people, when you hear import export, automatically you think ship, abi, over the sea. But there's some kind of products that, yes, you will start over the sea. Then when the thing lands, maybe you will fly it from Lagos to Akwa Ibom. Then when the thing enters Akwa Ibom, you will now use lorry from Akwa Ibom to another town. You can see that that is multimodal, different mode. You started with ship, then you entered airplane, then from there you enter lorry. So, Mr. Josh, since you are by necessity engaging in multimodal forms of transport, you can see that another layer of complexity is now involved. So, do not be angry. Don't be confused that you talk to somebody January 1st and by January 7th they haven't said, go and handle two consignment. There's plenty of complexity involved. There's lots of money involved. These things take time. Relationships are essential. You don't build relationships in one day. There's a level of high risk that is involved in this thing. From the angle of the prospect, from your own point of view, you know yourself, you know that you're a correct guy, and you know you're not a 419. Yeah, so for you, no risk. From Chief Iheanacho's point of view, the guy knows you from nowhere. You just showed up today in his shop. You're trying to collect, business from him. He already has a freight forwarder he's been working with for 5, 10 years. For him, he's a very risky somebody. Like, who is this young man? I don't know you. I don't. So those are two expectations. Number one, conversion. You will never close at 100%. Number two, expectations regarding time. It is not a day's job. So let us be calming down and have a realistic expectation. What is a realistic expectation? I don't know. You have to talk to your, I have to ask you a couple of questions. The deals that you closed before. Then you also have to talk to your seniors, people who've been doing freight forwarding 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. From there, you will get a sense of what the, what's this thing called? The sales cycle. You get a sense of what the sales cycle is. Now, a sales cycle is just the traditional length of time between good morning, sir, and then the person transfers money into your account. So, if you sell Indomie to supermarket chains, the sales cycle is the length of time between the first time you enter the shop and you say, "Oh, good morning, can I speak to the manager?" And then the time when they now say, "Oh yeah, send us 2 lorries of Indomie noodles." The gap in between is what we call sales cycle. If you're a fashion designer, somebody picks up the phone, calls you from Instagram handle to say, "Oh, hello, do you make backless, halterless, mermaid, V-neck, deep plunge dresses?" The length of time between that first phone call and when the person transfers you 600k for that special dress, the length of the gap of time in between is what is called the sales cycle. Every industry get your own sales cycle. So just learn to play accordingly. If traditionally it's looking as if your sales cycle is like 3, 4 months, then relax. You trying to push and close this thing in 1 month, you're trying to run faster than your shadow. Now we can always save time off. If everybody else is doing sales cycle of 3 months, it's possible you can do your own in 2.5 months or maybe 2 months. It is possible. But at least we need to find out what's feasible. What are other people doing first? Let's get a sense of what the sales cycle is. Now, Mr. Joshua, that we know that this is not a day's job, by necessity, we know that we're going to have to make several calls to close this deal. Now, in sales, when we say call, we don't just mean phone call. We mean any single attempt is a call. So if you call the guy, if you call Chief Iheanacho, that's a call. If you go to Chief Iheanacho's office, we consider that a call. If Chief Iheanacho happens to be at the port now, and you're close by, he's working on another consignment, sorry, and you just say, no problem, let me jam you at the port, and you meet him at the port, that one too is also a call. If Chief Iheanacho says, this boy self, let me see your office, maybe he's trying to size you up, he comes to the office, that is a call. If you're going for Lagos International Trade Fair and Chief Iheanacho happens to be there, you guys hook up there, that is also considered a call in sales. So any of those multiple touch points, we just call those things calls. What I'm just trying to say is several calls will be necessary. In fact, for to close Chief Iheanacho, you might have to do all of these examples that I've just given. Meet him at trade fair, meet him at the port, meet him in his shop. He will come to your own shop. You make 2 or 3 phone calls. It is possible that all of these may be required to close that deal. But now, in a general sense, this is how we're going to structure our calls. But see, you know that this is sales, so not everything goes according to plan. But at least mentally going in, this is how we plan. This is how we plan it. This is how we try and structure it. The first time we meet Chief Iheanacho, we're trying to figure out, is he interested? Does he have a need? He might be interested, but if he already has another freight forwarder, okay, in that case, maybe he doesn't have a need. If you skip back 1 episode or 2 episodes, we've already dealt with that scenario of what to do where you roll up on somebody, Chief Chinedum, and then you start that, oh, hello, Chief, my name is Josh from AGM Maritime something, and then he says, I already have an exporter. We've already touched on what to do when that happens. So if this is your first time listening to the podcast episode, after you're done with this, skip back like 2 episodes. You'll catch it. But shall the first call? Is this person interested? Do they have a need? If they are not interested, walk away. If they don't have a need, walk away. It is hard to close a deal when somebody is not interested. If you're looking for a wife, you approach the lady, she says, I want to be a reverend sister. Look, man, that's going to be a hard deal. She has declared that she is for Jesus. So trying to steal her from Jesus is hard. It's very, very hard. You're better off talking to somebody who is open to the possibility of marriage. So it's the same thing in business. I'm not a fashionista, but people keep walking up to me all the time, trying to sell me stuff, trying to sell me clothes. It's not going to happen. I'm not a fashionista. I don't like clothes. I don't value clothes. Omo, it's going to be a hard sale. You're better off talking to people who love dressing up. Like my wife, she likes to dress up. You're better off talking to her. You find it easier to close the deal. Or like my sons. My sons love to dress up. You're better off talking to them, not to me. Somebody's not interested. Move. What are you wasting time for? If you sell high-end phones, but the person likes buying cheap Android phones, what are you talking to the person for? There is no interest. There is no need. Move. When I see somebody carrying an iPhone 17 or the Samsung V Fold something, in my mind, I just keep thinking, Lord have mercy, 5 million, 5 million, 6 million, 7 million. I just can't stop thinking about that. So if you sell these kind of expensive gadgets and you come across somebody like me, what are you wasting time for? Move. It'll be a hard sale. But when you meet somebody who is already using the V Fold and already using the iPhone 17, whatever, and then you have the new Samsung S7 Ultra Slim something something. Hey, that kind of person values this kind of thing. The person already has 2 of last year's set. That is the person you will talk to and try and sell. I'm bringing this up because too many of you listening to this podcast think you can just sell to anybody. It doesn't work like that. You sell to the choir, you preach to the choir, you sell to the person who is already interested. So the first call, that is all we are trying to gauge. Is Chief Iheanacho interested? Does he have a need? Full stop. He's not interested. He doesn't have a need. Move. There are other traders in Lagos. Go and talk to those other people. See who is interested. Now, when somebody is interested, if Chief Iheanacho is interested, the next set of calls that we're going to make, remember, a call is not just phone call. It is visit or meet them in port or meet them at trade center, or you never know. If you guys go to the same church, after service, you meet him in church. That one is also a call too. So, after interested, is there a need? Is there a want? The next set of calls will be we're trying to learn about his operations. We're trying to learn about his specific needs. We're trying to learn about his timelines. We're trying to learn about his typical client base. We're trying to learn about the destinations that he sends to, and blah, 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 blah. The reason why we need all that information is because that is what will serve the basis for whatever proposal that we are going to give Chief. Now, look, Chief Iheanacho, for the things that you are exporting to your customers or to your whatever, these are the trade terms that we would recommend you do. These are the shipping lanes that we could recommend you use. These are the multimodal forms of transport that we recommend you use. And if you're okay with these recommendations working through us, these are going to be the terms under which we can deliver that for you. Somebody just doesn't just come and meet you, well, I want to send goods to Iran, and you now just propose something. Like what, like on what basis are you proposing something? Talk to the person first. What are you sending? Who are you sending it to? Is this thing perishable? Any extra packaging? Any this? You ask and ask and ask and ask. Based on that, you will now give a very specific recommendation. Or to send to Iran, for it to get to Iran in the next 14 days. Especially since Donald Trump is still dropping bombs and the Isle of Hormuz is closed. This is how we'll do it. So after interested, need, want, we will now start. After that, the next set of calls, we need to know about his operations, what's going on. That will determine what the kind of proposal that we're going to make. After we've made the proposal, after that, we'll try doing some trial closes. Now, in your own case, trial closing, the trial closes I recommend to be, like small orders. Like, Chief, you know what? I understand. You already have a freight forwarder that you're using for delivery to Iran and or whatnot. So, Chief, this small one that you are sending to Ghana or that you're sending to Benin Republic, just give me two of those ones as a trial to convince you. Let's just give me this Ghana one. Let me handle this Ghana one for you. Abi, what? How you say am? Abi, Chief, what do you think? You know. So that's like the kind of soft trial close that I'm recommending. But um, we need to have a proper session, sit down and plan properly. But for now, I would say that should be your sales conversion strategy. That is how you should turn strangers into customers. Remember, you will not close 100% of the people that you talk to. And then remember that for freight forwarding and shipping and all these things, it is a complex thing. So we'll need to make several calls. The calls we'll need to make, we'll break it down into different stages. For now, interested, need, that's the first stage. Is this person is even interested? Then after that, the person's operational needs and their timelines and the nature of the goods, the nature of the business, all those interactions. After that, that's what will allow us to do proposal. Then after that, since you're brand new in the business, you've only been 5 months, any kind of close that you're doing or trial close should be a soft, like test us, try us kind of thing. Okay? So, Chief, you already have somebody they are dealing with for Iran. Let us handle Ghana. Let us handle Benin Republic. Or maybe you can even start with the hinterland first. Okay, Chief, this consignment that is coming into Lagos next week that you want to send to Onitsha, let us handle it all the way from port straight down to Onitsha. Let's just do this one as a trial. A trial will convince you, not confuse you. So that will be the scope. So you'll be entering small. Oibo people call it land and expand. Use the small deal and enter inside. From there, you now start arguing for bigger and bigger and bigger deals, land and expand. So that's just one way of looking at it. And then let me bring it to a close here because we've already done 30 minutes. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Remember, if you'd love to connect with me, just like Joshua did from AGM Maritime Logistics. So if you'd like to connect, call me, send me a text message, or send me a WhatsApp message on 080 Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you all some other time. And remember, even though we are discussing, logistics, maritime, shipping, blah, 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 with Mr. Josh, remember that these principles apply to any business, whatever business it is that you are involved in. So that's it. I'll catch you all some other time.